Good morning, everyone. I'm Devika Suresh. I work as an innovation specialist at the Good Food Institute India. Back in 2020, after about 2 years of consulting for industry, academia, and policy stakeholders in the smart protein sector, the GFI India team was looking for the best way to build a high-growth innovation ecosystem for smart protein. It is worth noting that at that point, globally, there were more than 600 all-protein startups, but only a handful in India. At the same time, thousands of brilliant food technologists, engineers, researchers, and young professionals were graduating out of universities hungry for new opportunities, especially in the wake of a pandemic. I would know I was one of them. This is where GFI India saw the opportunity to build a platform to educate and inspire the next crop of smart protein innovators called the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge, or lovingly ISPIC. The challenge has trained hundreds of students and young professionals and accelerated go-to-market for dozens of new ventures over its 2 iterations, and 2023 has been no different. From June to October this year, we saw 200+ participants from over 80 cities across India access dedicated mentorship and curated resources to build out unique solutions for sector white spaces. Through this 5-month journey, we have witnessed teams being built based on shared interests, mentorship being generously lent, and so many innovative ideas being worked upon face by face. As a finalist of the very first edition of ISPIC back in 2020, I am elated to have you all join us for the first ever in-person demo day of the challenge, showcasing our 11 finalist teams. A very warm welcome to all of you to the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge 2023 Demo Day. The pitches today, like the challenge, would be segregated into 2 tracks, with the startup or venture-focused teams going first from 10 to 12 p.m., followed soon after by the SmartUp or research-focused teams, right after the networking lunch from 1 to 3 p.m. The format is simple. Each team will get the opportunity to present their solutions through a 10-minute pitch, following which our judging panel will have the chance to ask questions to the teams for the next 5 minutes. Speaking of, the judges that we have today bring in a diverse skill set and have been actively tracking the smart protein sector for a while now. We have Dr. N. Madhusudhana Rao, CEO, Atal Incubation Center, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology. Dr. Amit Arora, Professor at the Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Areas at IIT Bombay. Jinesh Shah, Chief Investment Officer at Ahimsa VC. Nikhil Srinivas, Director of Strategy and Operations at Brink India. Thank you all for being here. Let's jump right into the pitches. Fattastic Technologies, the stage is all yours for the next 10.
Hello everyone, I'm Satnam Singh, the founder of Fattastic Technologies. Today I'm joined by Mr. Sarang. He is a research scientist at Fattastic Technologies. At Fattastic, we develop designer fat to enhance taste and wellness. 72% of plant-based consumers who have tried plant-based food, they have stopped eating them because of the taste and texture, or in other words, the sensory appeal. And I'm one of them. I've been vegetarian for my whole life and started eating meat during my university time just to get enough protein requirement fulfilled. And then when I again turned vegetarian, I found it very difficult to get my protein requirement done from the normal plant-based food. And then I tried all these alternate protein products and I did not like them just because of the taste, and they were not healthy too, as they use a lot of saturated fat, a lot of other ingredients which is not good for the health. And the key to this thing is right fat. Right fat can improve taste, texture and mouthfeel. Unfortunately, the solution available in this space, they are not sustainable, not tasty, and not healthy. For example, palm oil. As we all know, it's been associated with deforestation. It has a bad reputation. And hydrogenated oil is nothing but a process which turns unsaturated oil into a saturated fat, and it is again not good healthy fat for a healthy diet. And for example, coconut oil, it's been widely used by the industry. It also has few drawbacks. Again, it's not healthy. It has high saturated fat content, and apart from that, it has several drawbacks like low melting point. Because of this, the oil comes out of the product when we cook the meat and then leaves the product very dry. And it has an aftertaste. No one would like to taste their food, coconut, every time they have meal, right? So, and if we keep relying on the coconut, we cannot meet the demand by 2030. This is where Fattastic comes in.
Fattastic develops fat just like animal fat. Our exclusive oil structuring technology can convert liquid vegetable oil into solid animal fat-like substance. Our ingredients are natural, vegan, and no hydration process is involved. Fattastic unlocks the potential of alternative protein industry by following features: tasty, healthy, affordable, and scalable. Tasty by adding better mouthfeel, texture, and juiciness in a plant-based meat product, and creaminess and froth foaming in plant-based milk products. We can also add encapsulation of flavors and aromas into our products. Healthy, our products are high in unsaturated fat, low in saturated fat, like around 12 times lesser than coconut oil. We are also low in calories, and also fortification for our fat can be done. Fortification means we can add essential nutrients such as vitamins and omegas into our product, such that it can make our product more healthier. Our product is also affordable since our material cost is lower when compared to coconut oil, and it does not require any sophisticated machinery. And our product is also scalable as the accessible to our raw materials is available. We follow a B2B model, and we have currently 2 product categories. Number 1 is standard fat, which has a high melting temperature around 120 degrees Celsius, and it also has like better texture and low calories. When you're coming to the second part, we are also having a customizable fat, which also has a high melting temperature, but we can also tune the temperature from 60 degrees Celsius to 120 degrees Celsius. It also has the features of customizable standard fat, and also added we can do flavor encapsulation and fortification process. Our technology offers customization for a wide range of application. Our go-to-market strategy is identification of customer and their problem, and where our technology can add value to their product. From that, we take it to a product design followed by an R&D process. Once the R&D process is ready, we delve into application code development followed by paid pilots, leading to sales. Our current interest has been from 10 companies, and our verticals are meat, milk, bakery, and butter. We are also expanding towards cheese, margarine, and chocolate. Our potential partners are AAK, Kerry, Futura, and Nongshin.
We are not only in this space where we are price competitive, we also offer extra functionalities for a wide range of application. And just to specifically talk about different technologies to develop fat, there are 3 different technology based companies: fermentation based companies, cell based companies, and the plant based company. We fall under the plant based technologies company. You can see how we are different from our plant based competitor. We have plant based competitor, like the main competitors are Lipid, Givaudan, and Motif. And what we can do is, and what our competitor cannot do is, based on this, can be seen on the chart here. What we can do is we can encapsulate water soluble and lipid soluble flavors, aroma for their controlled release and extended shelf life. We can also make our fat fortified just to make it even healthier. And geography wise, our focus first is in India. Follow on it would be, as India is still an untapped market, and follow on it would be the other part of APEC. And then compare our technology with the fermentation companies and cell based company. We are at least 100x to 1000x cost effective than these other technologies. And fat as an ingredient for different various food application will have 187 billion market size by 2030. And if we only consider 30% of that for APAC, it would be 56 billion market size. And if we only can tap on to 5 to 7% of that, it would be 4 billion market size by 2030. We started last year, and now we are at the product development phase where we have already developed the product. Now we are expanding our team and then ramping up our lab facility. And then we are also doing pilots with different companies. Our plan for 2024 would be again scaling up, making the sales, and with that we will also be exploring other verticals like cheese and chocolate. Our plan for 2025 would be the APAC expansion, and then follow on by with the geo expansion. We got initial funding from Entrepreneur First late last year, and with this this year we got funding from ProVeg Incubator, Better White Venture, and the Big Idea Venture. With that, we have closed our round, and now we are planning to go for the seed round, which we are planning to close by March 2024. We are raising this money for scaling up and logistics, marketing, and team expansion. And with that, we are also writing grants with academic partners in India as well as in Singapore. Yeah, in our team, I'm the founder and CEO of Fattastic Technologies. I have master degree in biomaterial engineering. After that, I started working in A-Star. It's a local, in Singapore, it's a local research agency. I worked there for around 4+ years. And while working there, being fitness enthusiast and vegetarian, I understood the problem and pain point that made me quit my job last year to start this company. With me, I'm backed by 3 people team. Sarangan is a research scientist. He also has a master degree in food science from NUS, and after that he worked in a float food plant-based egg company. Himanshu is our operation manager, and Shravna, she is our research intern. With that, we have a technical advisor, Dr. Shivendu. He is our technical advisor from IIT Kharagpur, and Jaime is our investment advisor. He is from Good Seed Venture. Join us shaping the alternate protein industry. Thank you. With that, I would like to play a video of our product, and then we are happy to take questions. Play video.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Swati Gopalakrishnan, founder of BasePeace Sustainable Foods. So I am here to pitch my solution, fermented complete protein and textured vegetable protein powered by artificial intelligence to solve one of the biggest problems faced by the plant-based meat industry in India. So BasePeace is an 11-month-old company working to revolutionize the protein production through fermentation, artificial intelligence, and advanced texturing strategies to create a sustainable future with the aim to become a preferred plant-based leader, positively impacting the environment, nutrition, and health by 2030. So we identified a problem when BasePeace wanted to launch a premium plant-based meat company in India without using ingredients like soy and pea. So we started off with doing our primary and secondary research, and we found that most of the plant-based meat companies in India are importing the TVPs from other countries. So to our surprise, we also found that India imports more than 46 million worth USD of TVP each year. So to know further, we spoke to one of the largest plant-based meat manufacturing companies in India, and they told that the locally available TVPs are not texturizing well, and quite a lot number of times the imported TVPs are often accompanied with off notes and bitter aftertaste. And there's not many options in India for customization and to have an edge over their competitors. So we found a huge market there and a huge problem to solve, and that's why we came up with the solution of developing fermented complete protein and textured vegetable protein using AI. So what we do is we ferment the raw materials together with enzymatic treatment. So AI optimization falls in 2 places. We use it for optimizing the parameters in the initial process as well as during the extrusion process. So we use a proprietary algorithm for optimizing the parameters both in fermentation as well as in extrusion. And as a final result, we get a fermented protein and we get fermented textured vegetable protein. So our products are, we can customize in any format. Our products won't have any off notes and off flavors. It has reduced anti-nutrients. It has improved bioavailability and digestibility because it's pre-digested during the enzymatic fermentation process. So currently we have around 60 samples. We have a TVP portfolio with more than 60 samples, and we've optimized the parameters for extrusion of different protein combinations. And the accuracy of the AI technology which we use now is around 65%, and we are expecting to reach around 90% in maybe a couple of months. So these are, currently we have more than 3 different forms of TVP. So these are the pictures of our textured vegetable protein, and I have the TVPs in hand for you to see. So once our product is ready, we will be targeting the manufacturers, suppliers, dealers, the technology providers, the intermediate suppliers, and all the plant-based meat industry who are looking for a complete, sustainable and clean label protein in India. We have a very huge market opportunity with the growing demand for vegan foods in India. People looking for new sources of TVP, and there's a huge global market gap. So as you can see, our total addressable market is around 46.4 million USD. Our total serviceable obtainable market is around 10 million USD. That's for the year between 2024 to 2028. And the global market size looks around 2.3 billion USD till 2030. So when we compare the protein market, so there are a lot of protein manufacturing companies, but when it comes to TVP, so most of the TVP market, at least 3/4 of the market is held by the 10 key competitors. So we will be competing with them in features like fermentation, artificial intelligence optimization, and then we have customization, and we don't have any off notes. So that's where we compete with the other competitors. And our business model is very clear, and as you can see, most of our cost comes in variable cost, therefore we don't burn that much cash. So with increased production, we'll be able to achieve economies of scale. So we'll be partnering with a few upstream and downstream partners throughout this process, like the raw material suppliers, contract manufacturers, and R&D labs. So currently our burn rate is around 80,000 rupees per month, and our projected cost for completion of our project is around 25 lakh rupees. So we focus on ideal targets like ARPU growth, cost acquisition cost, consumer acquisition cost, and profit margin expansion. So we are expecting a projected cost of rupees 450 to 750 rupees for manufacturing our TVPs. So we have a very able team to take it forward. We have Mr. Sriram Shankaran, who has more than 40 years of experience in running B2B businesses. And we have Dr. Ravi Ramanathan, who is our team member. So he is a protein engineer with more than 10 years of experience. So he is quite experienced in fermentation and protein production. And we have Dr. Gurmeet Singh, who is helping us with the extrusion and other parameters. And I myself, I'm a biotechnologist, and I also hold an MBA degree in business management. So what we ask from GFI is support in distribution, conducting trials, and to market the products once we are ready. And we are looking for an investment of around 2 crore rupees without capex for completing our product development and conducting the initial trials. And with capex, it will be around 7 crore rupees for setting up our unit. So this is our milestones for the next 3 years. So in the next year, we'll be launching our fermented textured vegetable protein and the fermented protein as such. And then in 2025, we'll be launching Base P Labs, where we allow other startups to come and customize their proteins, novel protein combinations. And then we are planning to increase the production by 4x in 2025. And in 2026, we might go to B2C with our TVPs, because there's no direct competition for soya chunks as of now in India, like the other US markets. So this is for now. And please reach us to know more about Base P and its innovations. Thank you.
Everyone, I'm Namita from Team ProMyce, and I'm very grateful to GFI India and industry partners for organizing this very interesting challenge, ISPIC 2023. And we've made great connections throughout this program, and we've had friends, and it's a thorough, well-structured program, and we would like to thank the mentors and advisors. Okay, challenges. Let me start by addressing the challenge that we are facing today globally. 75% of the agricultural land is used for raising and feeding livestock, and yet only provides to 1/3 of the global protein supply. And animal-based foods, food systems are less efficient. Industrial animal farming is responsible for 14.5% of the greenhouse gases. So India is also going to face a huge water scarcity, and we've also come to know through ICMR surveys that Indians are significantly protein deficient. So this is pretty shocking, and how would you look at feeding 10 billion people 3 times a day by 2050 in a very sustainable manner and a nutritional manner? So what are the solutions? Are we looking at turning everybody vegan? It would not be possible, and it's very difficult to switch away. Look at alternate protein products where we've seen it fall short of moisture, flavor, and textures. And of course, the meat industry has a few limitations. So ProMyce, so that's our solution, is an eco-friendly, complete nutrition, scalable, using a proprietary submerged bioreactor design, and we are utilizing local agri-waste products to ensure a competitively priced, clean product label with no masking agents, and it's comparatively, it takes a less process time. So meeting the team, we have team of, yes. So we have Pratima. Pratima and me go back 7+ years. We worked on multiple assignments together. And Carl, Srirang, and Pratima came together during ISPIC 2021, where they decided that they will go ahead and innovate and develop mycelium-based protein-rich products to serve as alternative meat products to the global market. And moving, yes, thank you. So our vision is clear. We want to make these fungi-based proteins a part of the daily diet of all Indians. So innovation, wholesome, sustainability, quality, and passion are some of our core values. And we are currently identifying and cataloging strains of fungi for desired characteristics, and we are also building a library. We are creating bioinoculants for increased mycelial growth, submerged bioreactor with IoT-based real-time monitoring for optimum growth texture. Use of local agri-waste products would help to keep the cost low while recycling this waste to valuable compost post-production. So our in-house genomic and NGS testing pipeline would also help us not only efficiently select the right strains with the desired growth and nutritional profiles, but also aid in quality improvement and safety. So this is our approach, and we look at delivering our value proposition through a process-driven, detailed, oriented, meticulous, and systematic approach. Okay. So there are actually no known competitors who have launched fermentation-based products in India for mycelium meat analogs. However, of course, conventional and plant-based meats would be our primary competitors. And of course, alternate protein companies, I think we would work better when we collaborate with them rather than looking at them as competition. The total chicken consumption by 2029 will be 5.2 metric tons. Considering that our primary market is India, and alternatives to chicken meat, total addressable market comes out to be around 400 million as a base case for domestic use and exports from India based on GFI and Deloitte studies. So assuming that 50% share of the fermentation-based meat analogs, with mycelium being the strong contender here, we are looking at a share of 30% of the market share. So we plan to launch our textured wedge protein biomass product for select B2B customers like QSRs, that's quick service restaurants, leading chefs and alternate protein companies, and food MNCs, of course, as biomass, and as pure myth to B2C customers. When sold through these channels, we'll be selling them as kebabs, nuggets, whole cuts, and mince. Now, our B2C targets would primarily be in the age group of 25 to 44, and these are early adopters in 8 tier 1 cities and 10 tier 2 cities with an annual household income of at least 10 lakhs and above, who consume meat at least 8 times a week. So that is our demographic that we're looking at. And how does the future roadmap? We are working on identification of indigenous strains, feedstock, bioprocess optimization. Mycelium products being new to the Indian market, we aim to engage regulators, cooperators and large organizations like GFI, PETA very early. And we plan to launch our biomass product in 18 months and file for IP in India as well as internationally. We believe the mycelium has an enormous potential for disruption. However, it's in a very nascent stage and it will take some amount of time to mature, at least in India. And so we're also looking at several revenue streams, starting with short term as well as long term. So it would be bulk biomass sale, side stream valorization, product co-development partnerships with already established food companies, direct to consumer markets through IP monetization, and we're looking to break even by the 5th year. And how do we plan to use the funds? We are looking for a seed stage of 1.5 crore funds. Majority of this would go into a full developed lab facility setup and of course human capital. Some of it is allocated for business development as well as partnerships with corporates to fast track the time to market. So ProMyce is incubated in NSR Cell, Bangalore, and co-incubated at Riddle this year. Collaborations with institutional partners to research work and service providers for testing are being discussed already. In addition, we would empanel experts from diverse backgrounds as advisory boards and mentors. So let us join forces to bring mycelium to the masses. Thank you.
Here. First of all, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to pitch here today and for advancing us to the finals. So I am Pratika, this is Aditya, and we are from Progen Foods. So we will be making indigenous protein isolates. So let me just start off with that. So the bigger problem at hand is the problem of protein deficiency, as mentioned by most of the other companies here today. So around 73% of people are protein deficient and 93% are not even aware of this problem. So for every 1 kg of body weight, you will require 0.8 to 1 gram of protein, which is not how much the average adult takes, consumes. So because of that, there are problems like fatigue, hair loss, muscle weakness, etc. So solutions to this problem are protein infused products like protein supplements, protein yogurts and other protein infused products. So what they do is they isolate proteins from agricultural produce like lentils, grains, legumes that are protein rich, and the protein isolates are further sent to blenders where they blend with different flavors and they are sold as protein powders. It's either that or it goes to texturization, people that do texturization and then they use it in mock meats. Yeah. So the gap over here is that most of the protein isolates that are there in India currently are imported. They are imported from Europe, Canada, China, France, etc. And this is a market that's going to grow at a 6.3% year on year. So this will make it a largely import dependent sector, which is something that we would not want in India. So we are looking to be an indigenous protein isolate manufacturer. This is a gap that we would want to bridge, as we will reduce the import dependency and our entire manufacturing process will take place in India. We have the process that can isolate up to 90 to 96% protein. So this will give us control over the entire supply chain and also the entire manufacturing, and we will be able to give it at a quality, and we will be able to look into the quality and make sure that our customers are getting exactly what they require. So how do I point this? Okay, so we will come in here, the protein isolation process, that is where we will come in. We will be doing our isolation process, and the major product is the protein isolate, and our byproducts are protein starch and fiber. So the isolate can be sent to blenders who will then blend with different flavors, and they sell it in the brands that are available in the market today. And texturization can be done on our protein isolates, where they use that in meat substitutes like kebabs, nuggets, patties, and also in other protein snacks like yogurts, chips, chocolates, etc. And the plant starch and fiber, which are byproducts from our process, they can be used as a binder and texture enhancer in the same meat substitutes. So the technology that we use is a chemical extraction, and we have size reduction techniques and mass transfer principles like separation, extraction, drying, and solubilization, and this is where our IP lies. We've tinkered our process in such a way that we're able to get around 92 to 96 purity, and our process, we can use our process on any indigenous protein rich source, and we choose these crops that are currently abundantly available and also required in the market. So yeah, we've done our isolation on legumes, rice, lentils, millets, seeds, etc. So our USP, we've developed the process is developed in-house. We spent the last year and a half developing this process, and we're able to arrive at a purity of 92 to 96% in the industry. And also the crops that we use are not water intensive, so this reduces the GHG emissions, and also we will be supporting the agricultural sector because we will be sourcing our raw materials directly from the farmers of India. So the value that we provide, our entire sourcing and manufacturing happens in India, and we don't have import costs associated with our product. So this significantly decreases the price that we are able to provide our isolate at. And also we've been working on our functional properties, and we're trying to match it to what the current consumers require, and we've been able to arrive at an almost, I wouldn't say completely neutral taste, because this is from plants, and plants do have a little beany taste, at least the isolate. So we're able to arrive at an almost neutral taste. So this is our market size. Our beachhead market is of 500 crores, and we will be adopting a B2B business model where we will be the raw material ingredient supplier to organizations that are making vegan food products like vegan patties, kebabs, mock meats, yogurts, etc. And also we will be supplying to blenders that will then put in their flavors, and they will supply to other companies that other branded companies that sell protein powder, flavored protein powder. So our marketing channels will be e-commerce platforms like IndiaMart, Alibaba, and also through social media like LinkedIn. So these are other raw material manufacturers, whey protein and soy protein, both of which we are not going to look into, and there's pea protein. So like I said, most of the pea protein isolates in India are imported, and they have a high import duty associated with it, and our product will not have this import duty associated with it, and we will be able to sell it at a much lower price than what is currently sold at. So we have been talking to a lot of customers, and we have been gathering data. We've spoken to a few of the companies that we've spoken to are there, and the major point of concern was the cost. Most of them were worried about the cost, and they wanted it at a lower cost. And the other factors that they were concerned about were functional properties like solubility, emulsification, and gelling, all of which we are working on. So we started Progen in the year 2022, June 2022, and we've isolated from millets, seeds, legumes, and we're currently in the advanced pilot stage where we're working on improving the functional properties and also bringing down the cost. And we're currently interacting with a lot of customers to gain data on what they would want, and we're trying to optimize our process and product in such way. So what we require would be a fund of around 75 lakhs, most of which will be used for the equipment and also for the testing, manufacturing, and manpower. We would also require a business mentor that would help us get market access and would also pose as an advisor. So this is the team. This is Aditya. Aditya has a master's in chemical engineering and 4 years of experience in business development. I'm Pratika. I have a degree in chemical engineering and 2 years of experience in product development, and we also have Melvin on the team who has a degree in food technology and 1 year experience in product development. So yeah, you can reach us on mobile, email ID, and also on LinkedIn. Yeah, thank you.
And we Team Green Flag present to you Plentiful Cheese, your green flag to plant-based cheeses. As a part of track 1 of this India Smart Protein Challenge, we present to you an idea of cost-effective millet-based cheeses that has at par sensorial characteristics as that of traditional ones. Before digging deep into it, let's have a sneak peek into the minds of the millennials and their perception on plant-based cheeses.
I've tried it once at my friend's place. It was way worse than I thought it would be.
Yeah, most definitely. As a person who is so much concerned about health, anything plant-based would be a yes for me.
No, not at all.
Hi, my name's Isha. I'm a part of Team Green Flag. Rashi and Omkar have given me only 30 seconds. I have to wrap this up really quickly. I absolutely love my cheeses. I cannot have a bowl of pasta without Parmesan cheese on top of it. And when I decided to go vegan, it was like something really important to me was taken away from me. And when I decided to explore plant-based cheese options in the market, and when I realized most of them are 90% just saturated fat, I knew that I'm not putting that into my body. And that's why we decided to come up with Plentiful Cheese. More on it by Rashi and Omkar. Thank you.
Well, to take on from the point what Isha left with, the current plant-based solutions in the market broadly fall under two categories. The first one is a precision fermented casein that is then taken on to be inculcated in the product, while the second one is a reformulation strategy that thrives on the interaction between the native starches and the saturated fat. However technologically sound the solutions would be, they do pose some serious hurdles when to be taken to the consumers. For instance, the scalability associated with the precision fermented casein to be used as an ingredient, or even the lack of nutritional construct that a reformulated strategy has. Not to mention, when it comes to sensorial experience or the consumer experience for the product, there is an absence in the melt and stretch in the product. And also the cost when you're talking about the inclusion of premium nuts like almonds or cashews in your product. Now this is where Team Green Flag tries to position its idea on producing millet-based cheeses using traditional fermentation on the millet flour substrate. Now the solution strikes 2 points here. The first one is the nutritional wealth that the millets bring along with themselves, and the secondly is the traditional fermentation that is going to contribute to the texture on the product. Now this is our way of marking a presence in celebrating the year of millets. The phase 2 and the phase 3 part of the challenge saw Team Green Flag present a comprehensive dashboard on the available knowledge on millets until now, while this led us on to the idea of millet based cheeses. Now this is not only going to give me a high nutritional value in the final product, but a sustainable way of getting our cheeses. Now the millet magic is opening our doors to the world of gluten free and allergen free claims, while the use of traditional fermentation in the product and getting the texture is going to help us reduce on the saturated fat levels in the final product, while again bringing back the stretch and melt to our cheeses. Well, the action plan now begins with taking our millet grain to a form that's going to be readily available for fermentation, and this is done with a number of processes which starts from dehulling, milling, blanching, malting and acid heat treatments. Now what happens is the increase in the protein digestibility and health more available when taken to fermentation stage. Now when we start with the product development part of it, it goes on with two stages. The stage 1, which is where Team Green Flag tries to concentrate on building a source understanding initially in the areas of millet science when it comes to effect on the fermentation process. Now this is coupled with the cell line development, wherein we try and get an idea about the strains that are going to give us the best yields, while the fermentation trials with the strains of Leuconostoc, Lactobacillus, Saccharomyces is going to help us select on the starter culture to be used for the process. Now that we have got a millet curd with the right acidity pH, we begin with physical processing with straining, pressing, drying and get a soft solid like material. Now this is where we try to launch our first products in the areas of soft cheeses like the cottage or the cream cheese, while a secondary process of aging is going to help us get into the categories of semi-hard and hard cheeses like Parmesan, cheddar, etc. As with any ambitious project, there comes challenges and our strategies to combat them. So some of them would be the lack of literature when it comes to changes in millet proteins on fermentation, which is something that we try to build initially. And the second would be a lack of reference product when we try to see the market of millet-based cheeses. And the last one would be the involvement of multiple expertise when you have processes like fermentation, cell lines, product development, etc. This is where our fruitful collaborations with organizations like ISPIC thinking folks will come into picture. Now that we have got a fair bit idea of the product, let's see how we take this to the consumers. Over to Rashi.
In this competitive landscape, our product excels by providing both a high nutritional value and affordability, propelling for health-conscious consumers to select our product. Current competitors in the market include Wildlife, Sainsbury, Tesco, Follow Hard vegan cheeses, along with Weekland, Mouse's Favorite, and Sheesh vegan cheese. They either fall into the gradient of high cost or low nutritional value. Alternative protein is the future, and investors love investing in the future. The growth of global oil protein market is exponential. It is expected to be valued at $8 billion in 2023 with a CAGR of 12.6% from 2022 to 2030. To be specific, the vegan cheese market is valued at $3.2 billion in 2023 with a CAGR of plant-based cheese, to be specific, 15.1% from 2023 to 2033. We augment our market into three segments: the total addressable market, service available market, and the serviceable obtainable market. The cheese market is a vast 187.4 billion landscape, while the service available market would include the vegan cheese market, to be valued around $3.2 billion. But what is truly exciting is our territory, the plant-based cheese market, which is valued to be around $2.7 billion. Coming to the domestic market size, the plant-based dairy market size in India ranges from $611 million to $1.3 billion in 2030. However, consumer awareness in India is 50%. 25% of the population is already using plant-based cheese in the past 12 months, indicating a strong growth rate of 15.3% from 2022 to 2028. Our target age group is 20 to 35, with a state-wise demographic including Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai, which would come around total around 1 crore 18 lakh 72,657 by the figures. Think of our business model as a powerful blend of a B2B2C along with a D2C approach. We would like to present ourselves by building an online vegan presence through Vegan Dukaan and Amazon, along with positioning ourselves in premium vegan cafes. Our this digital and physical spaces allow us to connect with the consumers directly. However, our fruitful or strategic collaborations, partnerships with Nature's Basket and Reliance Fresh would ensure that everyone savors to our vision of a greener, healthier world. The ask. Calculated cost for research of 4 lakhs, including that would be delegated for external sampling, operations, labor and costs, raw material and others. The future prospects. After identifying the demographics and studying the consumer preferences, after an in-depth consumer research and market research, we would craft a compelling brand story that engages consumers on the basis of emotionally including them on emphasis of sustainability and health benefits by content marketing and branding. Lastly, product launch after building months of the hype. Our team: Isha Patel, Bachelor's in Zoology, Botany and Chemistry; I. Rashi Bhavsar, Bachelor's in Biotechnology, Biochemistry and Genetics; and Omkar, BTech, MTech in Food Science and Technology. Thank you everyone. For more, please reach us out at the following email IDs.
Everyone, we are team ProteinGurus and we're going to be working on the challenge statement of channel strategy for selling smart protein. We're going to be focusing on Horeca, which refers to hotels, restaurants and canteens. My name is Karan Kapadia.
I'm Gronya Jain.
I am Vidu Govind.
So recently I had a conversation with someone at my university who said that their friend had to leave a vegan diet because they were not able to fulfill their protein requirements. We heard this earlier as well. And this got me to think, is accessibility such a big issue that people are not able to follow this diet? And that's when we thought penetrating into the Horeca market and creating a solution could help us solve this. So you might ask, why Horeca, right? Horeca involves buying of dishes, ordering in, going to restaurants, and that involves no cooking. Who has the expertise to cook nowadays? Who has the time? We know that ordering is becoming more and more popular by the day. Gen Z people will be able to relate. No cleaning. Again, people have a very busy lifestyle. People might not want to clean, so ordering in, disposing, as unsustainable as it is a practice that attracts people to order. And lastly, it's an indulgent experience. You get to order numerous dishes. You have numerous cuisines which you might not be unable to cook, or even your mother might not be unable to cook. We know that Gen Zers just want new cuisines. And there's just a lot of tasty food available through restaurants, so it's an indulgent experience overall. Now to dive deeper into our problem, we rolled out a survey to consumers, Horeca vendors, and also Horeca players, which is restaurants and canteens. And we realized that our consumers were 18 to 35-year-old urban dwelling population. We received equal responses from various income brackets, making it a diverse survey. And 67% of our responders were willing to try a plant-based meat. And this was a really promising insight for us right off the bat. Primary motivators for them are health, consciousness, and taste. And familiarity of dishes is really important for these consumers. We asked them, which dish would you want to try plant-based? And we received responses like plant-based butter chicken, plant-based burgers, and a lot of recurring responses. And lastly, 19% of our consumers are willing to pay a premium for plant-based products, while 43% said maybe. So that's an interesting white space to look at.
So highlighting the responses from the vendors, we get to see that most of the products are marketed as vegetarian or vegan instead of plant-based or alternative meat. And even though we know that the ingredient cost is getting decreased day by day as new players are getting into the market, but still the setting up costs for machineries like extruders are really high. And they are using a variety of additives to lend the umaminess. And a majority is willing to offer discounted prices to increase the repeat purchase rate, and they also suggest that they have the similar cooking temperature related to animal meat in terms of cooking temperature.
Right. On serving Horeca players, we learned that there was a lack of data on consumers' keenness to opt for or try plant-based alternatives. However, 100% of our responders were willing to conduct trial runs as well as advocate for plant-based dishes on their menu by highlighting them. They're also willing to pay a premium to procure these plant-based ingredients and offerings, as they believe their consumers will also cover the markup.
So in our survey, we asked, are you willing to try plant-based meat? Around 10% of our responders said an outright no. But later in the survey, after around 15 questions, when we asked, would you be willing to try a freshly prepared meal containing plant-based meat from your favorite restaurant, only 5% of the total responders said no. This gave us the insight that when you offer plant-based meat or alternative proteins to customers in a freshly prepared meal in a ready format from a restaurant that they are related to or know about, they are way more willing to try. So this is something really important you can keep in mind while curating an offering.
Right, so this truly struck a chord with us, the pressing need for IK. Now what is IK? Internal knowledge is bridging the gap or supporting consumer education with data for vendors and distributors on consumer needs and wants. Currently, Horeca players are very dependent or reliant on the data or the market studies conducted by D2C brands that are trying to expand into B2B. And these D2C brands have their own moat, which is independent of the concept of the Horeca establishment that they're approaching. So how do we build this IK? Simply by creating and providing access to this data so that vendors and distributors can do their own product market fit studies and analyze the market, can narrow down pain points and also eliminate them. Through our research so far, there are a few bottlenecks that we've identified that we can address. Starting with price parity, while novelty creates and builds curiosity, Only competitive pricing ensures retention. Whether it's vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, non-vegetarian, HoReCa players always seek offerings, ingredients, assemblies that can have varied applications. And lastly, meat eaters will only want to substitute meat with meat-like or meaty alternatives. So they obviously want umaminess in their food.
So umami is the fifth taste. The key amino acid present in umami is nothing but glutamic acid. And along with, if you add glutamic acid plus inosinate or guanylate, it has much better taste than the single of the individual ingredients itself. So instead of focusing more on the ingredients, if you try to focus more on what is in there, you can explore a wide variety rather than sticking into some internet sources suggesting ingredients.
And a very important part of our solution and offering are the strategies and services that we'll provide to our customers. Starting with search engine optimization. On aggregators like Swiggy and Zomato, up until 1 month ago, there was absolutely no filter for vegan and plant-based dishes. As a vegan myself, I often found it very tough to find dishes. And dishes from numerous restaurants, even plant-based meat, used to go under the non-vegetarian filter due to the names of the dishes. So this is something we really want to help our customers with. Secondly, location optimization procedures. While opening a new restaurant, it can be really helpful to look at where you're opening the restaurant so you get a radius that you can deliver in through platforms like Swiggy and Zomato. Assessing the competitors' locations and through data scraping, you can find the best location that you can open a new restaurant. Thirdly, demarcation of dietary preferences. This is a really simple fix because it essentially means adding the ingredients or the demarcations of vegan, vegetarian and non-veg into menus. Many restaurants are yet to do this and we also want to help them with this. And lastly, virality. Recently I saw a video of Mr. Singh's Tandoori Hut, which is a plant-based forward chain from Ludhiana that now has 7 outlets in India. The video was forwarded to me by a 50-year-old who I would never imagine to be interested in plant-based meat. But the whole proposition that they curated, the whole marketing that they did was really relatable for the general populace. So virality and looking at those strategies can be very helpful for a new restaurant.
Perfect. So to execute our business strategies, there's one of 2 operational models that we can adopt. Option 1, dedicating our undivided attention to understanding our consumers, mastering our distribution, and outreach to HoReCa players. This option will ensure that we have a very low upfront cost because we're curators and not manufacturers. We're sourcing our plant-based ingredients and offerings from third-party manufacturers. The one downside of this approach is the restriction to product development and customizability applied by the capabilities of our outsourced manufacturer. On the other hand, we can also choose to manufacture our own plant-based offerings. This will help us gain traction by the provision of small order quantities and leveraging trials, and will also increase profits by eliminating sourcing margins. However, we will be set back by a very large capital investment as well as an investment in acquiring the expertise for manufacturing functions. Both of our routes or options will be supported and inclusive of our flagship services that we mentioned earlier. Currently, we are leaning towards route 1 with the feasibility of manufacturing as a milestone that can be achieved in the future.
So while choosing which of our offerings we're going to curate, feasibility and familiarity are the 2 most important things to keep in mind. As you see, the dishes on the left like momos, nuggets and pasta are something that are familiar to all the general populace and also feasible to store and cook for any outlet. Secondly, on the other hand, you see vegan salmon, sushi and steak tartare, which are way more intricate to create but and also might not be familiar to the general populace. It's important to keep in mind who your audience is and what kind of restaurant you are while choosing your offering. As part of our service, we will also help restaurants curate a sample menu, and we'll distinguish this by fine dining or QSR chains based on the price point and type of service. So for QSRs, we have comfort foods like mock chicken manchow soup, we'll have tempeh shish kebabs. We can understand the cuisine that the restaurant is operating, and then we can help them choose dishes. And as I said earlier, fine dining will have way more intricate dishes that encompasses a whole experience of going to a restaurant. So we can have vegan steak tartare, we can have pho, ramen with chicken dumplings.
Cool. So our approach of taking the path of least resistance and grabbing the low-hanging fruit is what we think will help us feed a mushrooming ecosystem. We're looking to take on a customer-first approach and not reinvent the wheel in the process. Future scope will be inclusive of B2B partnerships with established dominant chains, expansion to tier 3 cities and rural India, as well as analysis and studies of indigenous local produce that can help improve cost efficiency.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very good afternoon, everyone. This is team Alt Nutritos, and we are here to redefine plant proteins. Our chosen problem statement is ingredient optimization research for smart protein. Now, before we move on, what do you think is the single most impactful change that you could bring into your life when it comes to both your health and the planet? When I think about it, I feel like it's something that's like adopting a plant-based diet. And that's because when we are in a world where our choices can directly impact the future, it's high time that we think of some solutions that are not only healthy but also sustainable. So what we discovered is that when you eliminate animal products from your diet, you are basically lowering your risks of health issues like heart disease and obesity, and also simultaneously reducing the environmental impact by bringing down greenhouse gases and even land use and water consumption that is associated with the animal agriculture. So thus benefiting the entire planet overall and everything. So for all the vegetarians here, what we are about to present to you is an excellent source of protein that you might be missing out on, and also something that can add a variety to your non-meat meals. So in the beginning of our ISPIC journey, when we started contemplating about the same and read a lot of research articles, we discovered that not all these plant-based meat ingredients are healthy. So exactly why we are here, to show you that our proposed solution can produce maximally enriched protein isolates using one of the most efficient methods of extraction, and also improve the texture using certain protein nanofibrils. That's it. Over to.
Our solution is a 360-degree approach to utilize the indigenous crops to produce high quality functional plant protein isolates. So we start with the source of protein and we move on to the extraction approach, and we move on to the functionality and the texturization of that protein isolates and the end product applications. The source of proteins. So we have different sources of protein from indigenous crops, which is non-soy and non-wheat. So our focus will be on chickpea and pearl millet as of now, but we have other protein sources like mung beans and microalgae and many sources in the pipeline. But we have developed, or we are ideating a process where we can combine the chickpea and pearl millet to produce a protein blend which is very functional. This is an extraction approach we intend to plan. It's a unique approach and a green extraction technology which is very unconventional. So we are using the power of biotransformation, and that's enzymes. And we all know there's a general question, enzymes are very costly. But we intend to plan a reactor system where we can immobilize the enzyme so that we can use the enzymes 4 to 5 times, so that lower the cost of the enzymes. And compared to other acid alkaline precipitation method and ultrafiltration, we can preserve the protein functionality, or we can increase the protein functionality, and we can reduce the anti-nutritional factors when compared to ultrafiltration. So I just want to simplify this this diagram into one slide. So we start with the source of protein, and we move on to the immobilized carbohydrates bioreactor, which is an enzyme bioreactor which can separate the carbohydrates. And then we centrifuge the sample and we get the starch fiber rich fraction and a protein rich fraction. So this protein rich fraction, we are going to subject it to another bioreactor, and after spray drying and freeze drying, we are going to get the final product, that's the protein isolate. The functionality and application for that protein isolate is very wide. We have dairy and egg replacement, we have plant-based meat, we have protein supplements, plant-based scaffold, which is an emerging technology, and protein snacks and bars. So we wanted to focus our attention to 2 of the major applications, that will be a plant-based meat and plant-based scaffold. So end product formulation for the protein isolate will be that we wanted to develop a blend of protein which will involve chickpea and pearl millet or any other source of protein. We also we want to focus one attention to chickpea and pearl millet is that they are found to be high quality, complete profile plant protein, and they have higher digestibility. We also wanted to explore the potential of legume and millet blend to manufacture 3D printable plant scaffold, which is ideal for hybrid meat technology, because there are companies that are coming right now which brings both the cultivated meat and the plant-based meat companies together. So we wanted to develop a plant-based scaffold will be ideal for cultivated meat. So this is a proposed project timeline that we intend to develop. We have planned. So we started this project from August. As of now in October, we wanted to start the process, research and optimization, because we need a lot of research on identifying which type of enzymes, what's the condition for the enzymes, how can we optimize the conditions, how can we mobilize the enzymes to make a efficient bioreactor out of it. Then by September 2024, we plan to formulate these end product applications for the isolates that we get from the enzymes. And by December 2024, we wanted to establish a company called WayBio, which will be a B2B supplier for high quality functional plant protein ingredients. And we have plans to emerge as a leading food tech company in the smart protein sector.
Talking about the market strategy, so as previously mentioned, our main focus will be B2B partnership. So we would be concentrating on food product manufacturers like that, those that supply plant-based meat analogs, and even supply protein snacks and bars to direct consumer sales. So talking about the global based ingredient market, currently as per 2021, it's at US $18.49 billion, and it is projected to rise to US $40.8 billion by 2027, with an impressive CAGR of 14.1% as well. And the market opportunity is that we, as we have analyzed the plant protein market, is growing at a great rate, and comparing to our current market players, we have certain advantages like novel extraction methods of immobilized enzymes and also protein nanofibers that can tremendously improve the texture of the meat. So comparing to the current market players, we feel that we can bring it along the way as well. Talking about the financial projections, our projected research R&D cost only is rupees 4 lakhs for the next 6 months. And the projected cost for the overall setup, including the working capital and the capital project, is 2.5 crores. And the target price for protein isolates, which has a lot of 80 to 85% of protein content in it, comes to rupees 400 to 800 per kg. This is a brief description of our financial budget. And coming to our annual plant capacity, it comes down to 31.2 tons. So production cost would be rupees 500 per kg, and the profit margin that we aim to have is 40% by selling it at a total market price of rupees 700 per kg. And the annual turnover that we expect to have is rupees 2 crores.
So we are team Alt Nutritos. Namrata, Aboli and myself, Antonin, we are from VIT Vellore, and we are a final year student for BTech Biotechnology. And we have an excellent mentors from our professors from VIT Vellore and from Arjuna Natural, which is a nutraceutical company. And that's it, and thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are the team OPZ Redients, and we are here to present the solution to the challenge statement, ingredient optimization research for smart protein, where we were asked to develop an in-depth dashboard of plant proteins for end product formulation with specialization to Indian context. So we are all quite aware of the harmful consequences of the production of red meat and seafood. So what our challenge statement focus is that there are two issues. One is the knowledge gap that exists between different stakeholders who are involved in AL protein research. The second one is the lack of centralized sources of information and data related to AL proteins. So what we are proposing as a solution is that we are going to develop a full-fledged primer that contains A to Z details related to different kinds of AL protein sources, and these are the gist of data that we have so far collected for our primer document. So the market opportunity is quite obvious right now, so it is expected to cross multi-millions or even multi-billions in the near future, and that's an established fact. So what we are trying to do here is that we are planning to facilitate knowledge sharing and passing of information so that no one has to take more research and more risk into researching into the technical data related to different kinds of AL proteins. So the target audience for our primer document would basically be the academia people who can refer it for research purpose, studying and even learning. And we are also targeting startups and food MNCs, established companies to look into our data bank that we have collected and make right decision for their business. And also prompting new investors and VCs to look into this field, because there are a lot of new people that are not even aware about this AL protein sector. And we are also prompting the regulatory authorities and government bodies to take decisions by biting them with sustainability related data. And for farmers particularly, because in some of the plant protein sources that we have chosen, we are also giving the agriculture aspects of how to cultivate those crops. So I think that will help the farmers to take sound decision, and finally for common people to take a right decision when it comes to their dietary preference. So our main objective, as I already told, to develop a one-stop shop of information. So where we have data related to raw materials, related to protein extraction, different methods of extraction, so that the consumer can, the ones who are seeing a document can choose what's best for them, and also how to develop the product. So we are not only covering these, we are also covering the data related to safety analysis, regulations, and sustainability factors. So what's the novel thing in our data primer? Because we already have a global primer released by GFI themselves. So what's novel is that we have chosen sources mostly from waste, because 8 of the 20 different plant proteins that we have chosen are actually from waste byproducts. And some of them are actually from novel sources, and some of them are actually from the millet sources. And we are designing this entire document such that it caters to the need of Indian market and Indian consumers. And to begin with our proposal, we did a basic survey, consumer survey, so where we asked a couple of questions, and these were the questions that gathered our attention. So first of all, more people were interested in eating the plant-based meat, and price was the major factor which inhibited them from trying these plant-based proteins. So we intend to develop a primer such that it actually covers these issues. And as I already told you, we need to bait the regulatory bodies and other government bodies to look into this. So we're also giving data related to the sustainability factors, because choosing a plant protein over that of animal protein has actually a lot of sustainability benefits and environmental benefits.
So now I'm going to explain why this particular plant protein we incorporated in our primer. So here is the brief elaborative. We are incorporated 20 plus ingredients under that under the different categories called existing, millet, waste byproduct, and then novel. Existing is we already more aware of this particular sources, and we have some data related to the own data related with respect to the Indian context. And then millet, we are having the superior gaining popularity, as well as it is easy to grow in the climatic conditions. And then the third one is it contains protein and then other nutritional aspects. The third one is waste. As we all know, India is a country who has produces the high amount of waste as well as that waste can be valorized into different categories. Either it could be economical as well as sustainable. Then novel, based on our analytics and then other based on our analytics and the consumer perspective, it could be more growth potential in our futuristic point of view. So this is our brief plant protein summary. Here we incorporated 20 plus ingredient, as I mentioned on the above slide. So this is the 3 elaborative criteria we focused on it, and for your reference. And also we incorporated not only this parameter, but also we incorporated more parameter which is more relevant to the lacking of amino acid, bioactive compounds, as well as the end product application, which is purely based on the alternative protein sector. So these 2 slides combined our sample primer page. So which is purely based on the global plant protein primer released by GFI. So we added our own creativity from right growth condition to until that food application, along with the impacts as well as the price points. So this is one of the major impact and then significant aspects in our primer, that is called millet portfolio. So here we are chosen 5 varieties of millet. This millet, for your reference, we added this millet which is purely based on the amino acid interactions, binding capacity, and then protein production. So this is that another impact and important aspects and the in our primer is synergetic combination of plant protein, that is called blend. Different combination of plant protein combined to achieve particular sources. Either it will be the functional property, or it will be like a nutritional property, as well as tuning the texture of the end product formation.
Yeah, so now we have collected data regarding the 20 different plant proteins, and this is how we can extract a protein from these sources. So what we did in our primer is that we mapped each of the sources to the potential method from which they can extract the protein, and some of them are enzyme-assisted ultrasound wet fractionation. So what we are prompting the researchers to look more into is to follow dry fractionation method, where they can use physical forces instead of chemicals to extract protein from the sources. And another important aspect in our primer document is a case study. So we have given a sample case study on mung bean because its functional properties are quite on par or even better than that of soy proteins in some cases. So what we did on our case study is we have collected data related to agriculture aspect. Particularly we did the SWOT analysis. We got data that has already been done, and also including data related to pre-processing, post-processing, and extraction of protein, not only by a single method, but multiple methods like enzyme extraction and also alkaline extraction. And even one study has been done where they have used dry fractionation for extraction of protein from mung beans. And finally, we concluded with cost analysis and energy analysis right from the agricultural step. So yeah, now we have our protein extracted. So next we need obviously to develop a product. So this is a basic overview of how to develop a product. So for any startups or any companies who are looking into it, they can get a brief idea of what they want to, what they are venturing into. And one of the studies actually listed the consumer profile of the Indian market, plant-based food market. So we can see that the high income group are the people who are more interested into this field. So which kind of resonates with the consumer study that we have also done. And not only this, we have also compiled a detailed directory.
So this is our brief detailed directory. It is one of the unique aspects in our primer. So here we cover not only the brand name, but also it includes the what kind of major ingredient they used to build the entire product development, which is more mimic to the animal meat, and also it covers the end product application with respect to the Indian context. Either it will be kebab or keema like that. And this is our future scope. So here we covered like not only we focusing on millet waste village, but we have to more beyond like plant-based leaf, plant-based seeds, and then plant-based fruit.
So at last I actually told you, right, we have covered data related to sustainability, price, etc. So after developing a product or after even extracting the protein, so we are also giving data related to how to do the nutrition analysis and extend shelf life and follow the GMP and GHP laid by FSSAI. So the data is actually in a centralized form. Yeah, so we all are quite aware of the risk. There are multiple ingredients and expenses involved. So what we are proposing as a mitigation is also our solution and also our future scope, where we are proposing a collaboration possibly with the GFI, where we want to develop this into a full-fledged primer document containing all the data that's also possible. And we also want to do some groundwork on real-time, to collect real-time data. We have tried to approach ingredient suppliers, but we didn't get proper response from them. So we want some mentorship and also some help from a professional side in order to realize this document and publish as open source in GFI themselves. And this is the team. I am Fatima Bibi. I recently graduated. I'm interested in doing plant-based research, and she is Durga Devi, who's working in ProMyce as a food technologist.
Thank you.
I wish a warm welcome to one and all on behalf of Team Protein Hub, which is a collaborative think tank built by myself, Komineni Jagadish, and Pooja Nelluri. On this demo day of ISPIC 2023, under the theme of Ingredient Optimization Research for Smart Protein of SmartUp track, we would like you to take people through our proso-millet protein journey from the phase of germplasm screening to protein extraction. As we know that several crops are being existing in nature, but what has drawn our attention majorly towards proso-millet? Let us have some of the key insights of a proso-millet which has attracted for being it considered as a protein ingredient. The first and foremost is the C4 metabolism nature along with its short duration. And next is that our target rate, that is high protein millet when compared to that of the several other millets. And the third one is therapeutic properties. There are several therapeutic properties such as antioxidant and anti-cancer properties and anti-diabetic, several which can be explored once the protein isolate has been developed. And coming to the fourth, that is the self-pollinated in nature. And the last but the most important is its resource use efficiency, which require low rainfall requirement, which is around 30 to 35 centimeters of rainfall for grain formation. And once we have identified our target crop, but what was the direction to explore it to optimize its ingredients? We have considered right from the germplasm screening to protein extraction. But why? As we all know that it was the genes which are responsible for expression of any particular trait. Suppose if I am fair, I need less cosmetics to look more attractive. Similarly, if the protein content is high, ultimately there are no requirement in order to have the basic extract of a protein. But by providing extraction several other functionalities, we can increase the protein extraction efficiency. As we know that cultivated varieties are less diverse, we would like to explore the germplasm, which will give a genetic solution for enhancing the protein content. And we would also like to consider the functional properties relation with the protein content, which can be considered during the protein extraction. We are under the logical assumption that by considering the correlation of these functional properties during the protein extraction, we will ultimately enhance our protein extraction efficiency. With this rationale and this intent, we have proposed 3 different objectives. The first one is the characterization of proso millet germplasm for protein content and several other functional properties. And the second one is the genome-wide association studies for identification of candidate genes for protein content in case of proso millet. And the last but the most important, because it will give our ingredients for making the protein products, that is the development of proso millet protein isolate using the novel protein extraction techniques and its process optimization. To carry out these objectives which we have proposed, we have defined a methodology. In case of objective 1, we would be acquiring 120 germplasm lines from ICRISAT gene bank, which would be evaluated at field conditions using the augmented RCBD design, and we will be using the checks which are successful at national level. These 4 checks will be utilized, and along with the protein content, we would like to analyze all the functional properties such as protein digestibility, amino acid profile, micronutrient composition, anti-nutritional factors, and floor color, and several others. And whereas coming to the objective 2, in case of objective 1, we will having the protein content data, which would be combined with the genotyping data, which would be obtained from once the protein these germplasm lines are outsourced. We would be analyzing for the identification of candidate genes using the genome-wide association studies. Coming to the objective 3, in the case of objective 1, we will be identifying the high protein germplasm lines. So we would be using those high protein germplasm lines along with the desirable functional properties for standardizing the protein extraction protocol. The methods we would be using such as ultrasound assisted and microwave assisted organelle extraction. We will be using the full factorial design. We will be adjusting the combination of the power and treatment time in both these methods, which we would be identifying the most desirable combination with a maximum extraction efficiency. Here we would be observing the responses while considering the combinations. By observing this particular response, we can consider the isolate for each particular product. It would be several properties would be different in case of if it was a meat and it was other product. So these would be helpful in that particular aspect. Coming to the statistical analysis of the data generated, in case of objective 1, the phenotypic data would be analyzed using the R software augmented RCBD package. In case of objective 2, multi-locus GWAS algorithms such as FarmCPU, Super and Blink will be utilized to identify the candidate genes. Whereas in case of objective 3, statistical inferences and data visualization will be carried out R software and design expert software in case of protein extraction approaches. The timeline of the study. The entire 3 objectives would be completed within a span of 2 years. Initially within 1 year, we would be completing our 2 objectives. For standardizing the protein extraction protocol, the second year, by the end of the second year, we would be completing. The most key driver of success of any research is the financial aspects. We would requiring a monetary assistance of around 52 lakhs, which was allocated under each objective, under each activity. The most of the financial allocation would be gone for the protein and micronutrient composition, amino acid profiling, and the SNP genotyping. We would require 2 resource persons, one in terms of SRF for the carrying the scientific activities, and one in terms of intern to carrying the basic technical activities. Coming to the expected outcome. By the end I complete these 3 objectives, we would having the scientific data or the information which we can say. The information for high protein content from these germplasm lines along with the desirable functional properties will be known, and the candidate genes for protein content and the functional properties can be identified through GWAS, and the standardized protocol for protein extraction will be made available. The character association studies among the protein content and the several functional properties will be known. And ultimately, the combination of these 4 results would ultimately, we are under assumption that it will ultimately increase the utility of the proso millet as a plant-based meat ingredient. We have conducted, according to our knowledge, we have conducted the basic SWOT analysis of the research. As the proso millet is a high resource use efficiency crop, and it is having several therapeutic properties. Health benefits are its major strength, and the products we are developing through the microwave and ultrasound methods, they are also environmental friendly products. Coming to the opportunities, as is a technology based solution, it provides a huge and ample opportunities for the educated youth majorly, and it can replace most of the animal based proteins which are existing currently. And coming to the major weakness, as the less number of studies are explored in terms of finding a genetic solution combined with a food technology based approach for exploring the plant based meat ingredients in case of proso millet. And coming to the threats, as we are dealing with the germplasm, there might be some plant loss, as we need to take more care when compared to that of the cultivated lines. Coming to the commercial viability, as according to the Mordor intelligence, the market size has been increased from around 11 billion to 13 billion expected from 2023 to 2028. The compound annual growth rate was around 4.6%. As there is a huge scope for millet products, and it is also the international year of millets, we are expecting a much greater plunge in future. So it would provide our product will be having greater market in future. And once after the COVID-19, the health conscious has been increased to a greater extent, and the junk food consumption has been decreased. So our target would be vegetarian and vegan population, and along with the flexitarians in case of Asia Pacific, United States and Europe. And the protein, in order to attract the funding, once the protein extraction protocol can be standardized, it can be patented, and the byproducts developed such as starch and fats which can be utilized for byproduct development can reduce the cost of isolate. Coming to the future direction of research, predictive modeling can be developed based on the large scale evaluation of protein content along with the functional properties, and the validation of the candidate genes is required. It is the major direction of our future research, and the product profiles are necessary for the proso millet which can enhance its ingredient utilization. Myself, and coming to the funding, we would like to submit our proposal for funding agencies such as CSIR, NSERB and Good Food Institute to avail the research grants, and we also identified some of the potential collaborators such as NIFTEM, CFTRA and ICR which we are willing to collaborate in future. And coming to myself, Komineni Jagadish, Department of Genetics and Plant Breeding from PJTSAU, research scholar at ICRISAT Gene Bank with expertise in plant breeding and molecular biology. Pooja Nelluri, Department of Agriculture and Food Engineering, research scholar at IIT Kharagpur with expertise in protein and food technology basis, would like to utilize our expertise in making success of this proso millet journey. Thank you.